Hello, everybody, and this is Stacy from The Advisor. And today I'm very excited because we have a very special guest today. Well, I should say guests because we have two people here today from BioOx, and they are amazing. They had just joined our podcast community, and they have their own podcast on our show. So if you look at our page, you'll see their podcast, and they have some great information to share today about how to improve your overall health. And we have Lisa Ratul, and we have Sam here today and they are going to share a little about BioOx and what it does and all the great things that it could do to help enhance your overall health. So, Lisa, Sam, tell us a little about yourself, what you do, and a little about your company and how you got started.
All right, I'll start. So my name is Lisa, and my background is fairly diverse. So I started my career as a research scientist in the pharmaceutical industry. So I worked creating pharmaceutical product that would be used in clinical trials. And I was a research scientist for several years, and then I decided to make a career transition. So I changed both industry and function following business school, and I worked in strategy roles, marketing roles in various industries. I worked in automotive at Jaguar Land Rover. I've worked in telecom at Verizon, and I'm here now, and I feel like I've really come full circle.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad that I met Sam because I was looking for really meaningful work. A lot of changes happened during the pandemic. I lost an uncle to cancer, my
That's
beloved pet to cancer, and really learning about BioOx and BioOxygen and a lot of their different studies and trials and how they're really trying to make a positive impact in people's lives as well as animals. It really resonated with me. So I'm very happy here at my role at BioOx.
so tell me a little about BioOx and what it does.
Sure. So we have a whole family of products, and it's based on the science of ROX. So ROX stands for Reservoir of Oxygen, and it's highly concentrated bullets of oxygen and nitric oxide. And that technology, that biotechnology, it's patented, is used in a whole family of products. We have our BioOxygen water supplement. So that's water that's infused with ROX, so those highly concentrated bullets of oxygen, nitric oxide, biomicroorganisms, enzymes. So that's a wonderful water supplement that really everyone could use in various, and we'll go into that, all the various illnesses or even just maintenance of well-being. And then we also have an air scrubber that's used by many major universities and medical schools, and that really cleans, destroys contaminants in the air. It's stronger than HEPA, it's stronger than UV, all those standard filters. It's not just an air purifier that essentially moves around dirty air
Yeah.
through the recirculates dirty air. It truly captures and destroys air contaminants. And then
Wow.
we have a whole grow product, which could be used for agriculture and even everyday people growing plants. So we do have a whole family of products using this ROX technology, which was discovered by Sam.
Wow. Now, tell people a little about the rocks because people are going to say, well, how do these rocks really make your health better? How does it enhance your health? Can you explain the potency of it and why it has such a traumatic improvement? It can have a traumatic improvement in your health?
Well, it really is using the power of nature, and it's has much more highly concentrated oxygen even compared to red blood cells. Like even
Wow.
Sam was notifying me that rocks compared to red blood cells, it has 2.5 times the amount of oxygen. So it's very highly concentrated. And it does give you that energetic boost, but it's not like a caffeine or an energy drink that eventually depletes you or a vitamin drink that eventually you metabolize very quickly. It builds in your system slowly over time, and you start seeing those effects over time, and it stays with you. I know Sam has a lot of personal experience with existing customers, long-term customers, where they've seen it for themselves, really that impact that ROX has made in their lives.
So as it goes into your body and it starts to build up, what parts of the body is it improving? Because oxygen, really affects the entire body. So is it going through the entire body and helping the body, circulate and work better? Is it, what are some of the benefits when you start to use BioOx and it starts to, after a certain period of time as it builds up into your system? What's going to start happening? Like, what have you noticed, between clients and between research, what do you see the changes going on in people's bodies once they start to use it?
I'll refer to Sam for a lot of those aspects and really going to the deep science, but ultimately our bodies are an energy management system. And
Right.
it's all about reverting back to energy. That
Mhm.
relates to your immune system, that relates
Yes.
to your cardiovascular system and your nervous system. All your different systems are intertwined, and it really reverts back to that energy response. So I'll let Sam go into more of the detail about how rocks and oxygen, nitric oxide can really impact someone's health.
Okay.
So you want me to start there? Well, the basic point is that our immune system has intelligence. Our body has intelligence. And so, for example, if some dog, some pet, or some person has cancer, if this supply of oxygen goes in the mouth, under the tongue, the body will take it to where it's needed most. So it may be attacking a tumor, or it may be attacking a virus, or it may be just calming down your nerves by giving your nerves enough oxygen.
Right.
So the way it happens is that your body makes its own reserve of oxygen. It's not like we invented it. The
Right.
body already does that. And but in these days, we have a lot of contamination around us. Believe me, all of us are breathing gasoline vapors, even though we
Yes.
don't smell them.
Mm-hmm.
And our lungs have to process it. Our livers have to use up the oxygen to get rid of it, and some pesticides and plastics. So what happens is our reserves of oxygen go down,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can catch all kinds of diseases. We can even
Yes.
catch cancer.
Right.
So that's the modern life. So we need some supplement, and we can get that supplement from actually what nature already provides, like soil. Healthy soil actually makes rocks for the plants, and like plants have immune systems too. So the bottom line is, our bodies are basically made of water, and oxygen does not go into water.
Right.
So the body does that by taking the oxygen from the red blood cells. The white blood cells do that and packing it into bullets. We're calling them bullets, very highly concentrated, very small particles of oxygen. So they can get to where they need to go without having to go through the circulation system.
Right.
So, and we just discovered that. It started, there's a long story behind that, but we just discovered that, how it's done.
So what really enhanced you to look into this further? So you said there's a long story behind it. You don't have to tell us the whole long story, but what made you really go into this direction where you acknowledge, the benefits of BioOx and how you pursued it? Like what really, really stirred you to
Well,
really
when I started working as a professor in the university, I had an engineering background too. And this researcher invited me because he was having a question. He was studying shock on dogs. And it turned out that he has extracorporeal circulation. What they mean is they take the blood out of the body, they process it and put it back in the body.
Right.
So when you do that, when you're taking blood out, you have to add heparin to prevent the blood from clotting.
Right.
So I guess for controls or something, he did not add heparin. And then what they do is expose the dog to shock. And when exposing the dog to shock, the shocks were not only did their blood not clot, so their blood was not clotting, even though they had that pump, and the dogs were resistant to shock. They were not getting shock. They were not dying of this, what they call DIC, where everything in your body clots.
Right.
So that was a mystery. Why is that? And to try to use regular science, it was very, very difficult. They have all these boxes, there's all these clotting factors and everything. So it had to be something else. So I've been working on that for decades, actually. And I got research professorship, 5-year unrestricted research grant at New Jersey Institute of Technology. And so then I did not have peer review, so I could do whatever I wanted. And we then began to discover that there's a source of oxygen in there that's coming out, not when we want it to come out, but when the white blood cells want it to come out. It's like watching TV. So you're stressing these white blood cells in a little bioreactor, and then all of a sudden you see these beautiful peaks coming out. And so you have to try to figure out what's going on. So that's what started it. And so that's how we discovered how to make it, was how the body makes it.
Wow.
And as a result, going back to dogs, because we don't like to experiment on dogs except to try to save their lives.
Yes.
So we made this special BioOxygen Plus that we call, and it had an immediate effect on sick dogs. Like they'd perk up.
Really?
The first thing that would happen to them is their mind would work better. They would signal to, for instance, this person came from New York and was very interested in our products and brought Lexi, his sick dog, with him. Lexi had tumors all over the place.
Oh,
And she was very weak, but when her owner went into the bathroom, she sort of like went toward the bathroom, and I said, "Don't worry, Lexi is going to come right back out."
mm-hmm.
So this was before she took her first serving of BioOxygen Plus. So then we gave her a serving of BioOxygen Plus under the tongue.
Yes.
Her body knew what to do with it. So her body, the first thing it did, it made her more alert, less brain fog. What happened is, so before he went back to New York City, he was going to use the bathroom again. This time, before she went into the plant where she's not supposed to go, where everybody's working,
Mm-hmm.
she looked at me and nodded. She looked at me and nodded. So I knew, wow, she's thinking, and she's telling me she wants to go in there. So there was a huge change for her right away. And over the months, some of her tumors started going away. Her color of her fur started coming back.
Wow.
And even her vet said her complexion has improved. I didn't know dogs had complexions, but I knew after he said that, I knew what he meant. So the bottom line is that the body recognizes it. The body knows what to do with it. And ROX exists in healthy plants, in healthy soil, in healthy water, and in healthy humans.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh my goodness. What are some of the conditions that, you've seen BioOx help over the course of the years as you've been working with this product?
Well, we have a school of thought. We have many doctors and stuff. For 6 years, we had these lunch and learns to try to develop this theory, what's going on, because now that we had a precision scientific instrument, we had to devise a very well thought out clinical study.
Yeah.
So we did our clinical studies with this school of thought. But so some of them are medical doctors. And for instance, Dr. Brelvy, who's definitely preaching about ROX to his patients, gave one of his patients a taste of BioOxygen beverage. This patient had a chronic fatigue syndrome, and unfortunately had a lab job which requires for him to stand up. And
Yeah.
standing up for 15 minutes would get him exhausted.
Right.
So with just a capful of the BioOxygen, he saw an improvement. So he came to me and he ordered a case, which is like 4 gallons of BioOxygen beverage.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out he was using 2 gallons a week, which is really a huge amount, And I was telling him, listen, you don't really need to use that much. He said, I know what I need to use. So 2 gallons a week for like maybe 15, maybe 20 gallons, something like that. And he started walking 5 miles a day, not just working.
Wow.
So now he's like a regular user. He knows when he needs it, and he comes by and he picks up the gallons he needs. And he only buys them by the 4-gallon case because he knows he's going to use it all the time.
And don't you
Yeah.
feel like also, Sam, with our BioOxygen customers, sometimes we see that where they need to really front load things where they're suffering from an ailment and they make sure that they drink a large quantity, a concentrated version, and they really get ahead of it. And then after they start really feeling better, and that, again, that BioOxygen, that ROX builds in your system over time. Once you have
Yeah.
that reserve, then over time essentially just need that maintenance.
Mhm.
So our customers, they really personalize it. How
Yeah.
he said, no, I know what I need and what I want.
Yeah.
And so exactly what Sam was saying earlier, your body tells you how much you need, and your body also takes that ROX and puts it exactly where it's needed. So we receive that feedback a lot from certain customers that they really need to front load it where they drink a high concentration a lot. And then once they get their systems regulated, then it's even a maintenance. And that's how I am. I personally don't suffer from major ailments or a major illness, but how I start my morning is with the maintenance of, instead of drinking my tea, I'll start off with a glass of BioOxygen. So it's been a part of my whole lifestyle now.
Yeah, I do that too, actually, and my wife does it too. It helps her arthritis. But I think the first thing most people notice is it takes away brain fog. And I think that the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal column, they
Mhm.
use 20% of your oxygen, but they only weigh 2% of your body. So they are major users of oxygen. So that's why it helps brain fog. The body decides the first thing it wants to do is make you think better.
Right.
And I take it too. I take it all the time. I try to take at least 8 ounces a day.
Mhm.
But in the morning, when I'm in a big crowd with a big crowd, sometimes I'm in a packed room, like we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they
Yes.
had this thing about old ancient dresses and all that. And they made you walk through, and there were so many people walking through, you could feel there wasn't enough air to breathe, you know? You
Yeah.
could feel all the fibers. But so after that, you don't want to get exposed to disease too. So I
Mhm.
actually gargle it really deep and then swallow it because we know it does things like it does kill pathogens. It has
Really?
intelligence. There's intelligence involved, and it's long lasting. In other words, when you drink the BioOxygen, there's one enzyme called catalase. Catalase enzyme in mice, it's known to prevent the onset of diabetes, and it's
Mhm.
known to extend their age. I don't believe in the mouse model myself. I think that if you've got something for humans and dogs, give it to them, rather
Right.
than but in any case, that's what catalase does, and catalase stays with you. So like when you take vitamin C, very important, antioxidant, you take it and then you pee the rest of it out,
Right.
and it's done. So you have to take it again. But when catalase goes in, your catalase stays and it keeps making antioxidants for you. It helps. So it's a different thing. It's a live thing. It's a continuous thing. And the biomass in there actually stays and works with your gut
Right.
and with your body. So it also works with the gut bacteria is what I'm saying, basically. But I use it too. I drink some before tennis,
Mhm.
and just try to get some extra exercise because we don't have that much time to play.
Yeah.
So then for practice, I'd like try to chase balls down, just to
Mhm.
get the exercise in. But I think it helps that way. So
That's
it's
amazing.
natural. When they say, for instance, if you're sick, go to the mountains and everything. Well,
Mhm.
that's true. Go to the forests. That's true too. When you go to a forest, the trees actually make rocks because they send that oxygen down to the roots, and the
Oh, I
roots
see.
grow.
Yes.
The
Makes
trees have
sense.
to use oxygen too.
Mhm.
So that's healthy, and that's all about rocks. In the seaside, sometimes when you listen to the bubbles as a wave settles down, you can smell it. Or in a waterfall, you can actually smell the rocks. So and also, people who are healthy have an aura of rocks about them. They have an aura of this oxygen about them. So when healthy people are near sick people, they actually help the sick people. And these are kind of like known things, from the ancient past.
And I
Yes.
also view it almost as a shield, like you're saying, aura helps when you have a healthy person next to a sick person, but also helps keep the healthy person healthy. So you're
Yes.
not as impacted, like the example you gave with the crowded museum. I find that I'm less susceptible to disease or viruses. And then even when I do get sick, it's at a lesser magnitude than say
Yes.
others or what I've experienced previously. It really does build that immune system using that
So,
ROX energy.
yeah, along those lines, if I may, we have a unit at the dental surgery lab at the university hospital
This
here
is
in
our air scrubber,
our air
air
scrubber.
scrubber.
But as Lisa said, it's all about oxygen and it's all about energy. So these air scrubbers, what they do is when they absorb a germ like COVID,
Mm-hmm.
they destroy it. So to do that, they need to make rocks. So they do make rocks and they emanate some rocks. So during the COVID epidemic, this was an emergency surgery place. So it had to be open and none of the people got sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the input they gave me. So this machine was not only getting the COVID out of the air and destroying it there, but it was spreading the rocks around to the people. And that's
Oh,
one
wow.
reason they didn't get sick. So again, it's the air scrubbers have biomass from healthy soil, healthy nature in them
Yes.
already. And it's like having a healthy little lake in your surgery room.
Yeah.
Using the science of nature to purify the air, to purify, I should say, scrub the air,
Yeah.
and then to improve our health and immune systems. And again, like the cardiovascular system, nervous system, the soil with our grow product, using the existing technology that nature has already provided to us. So it's natural, but also very strong and effective. It doesn't impact the effectiveness in any way.
The microorganisms we also use activated white blood cells when it's really serious. But the microorganisms we use come from the earth.
Right.
And they came before humans came because they had to clean the air. The air was really dirty and they had to clean the water. The water was full of heavy metals and stuff.
Yes.
So that life would begin.
Yeah.
So we're just using that system, to help restore the environment, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So it kind of feels good doing that. I
Yeah.
think strategy right now, everybody's strategy is if somebody has cancer, oh, let's poison them. Let's give them radioactive stuff.
Yeah.
Let's give them X-rays, strong X-rays. And we think that the real problem is the body is weak. That's why it got the cancer. And
Yes.
it needs the boost. And if it has the boost, their own immune system will do the work. We're just
Right.
the water boys in a football team or something like that. We're just supplying them with something they need.
Because the tumors, say with cancer, like even previously Sam was referring to the dog cancer study, those tumors need oxygen. So when someone drinks our BioOxygen water supplement, then that ROX is directed to those spaces. So it would be the tumor that needs that oxygen.
Yeah.
Then the oxygen bullets within the ROX will then oxygenate that tumor. And then, as Sam was mentioning within the dog study, those tumors were shrinking, the quality of life was improving, and the lifespan was also extended. So we started to see with multiple studies that there is a positive effect.
The key to remember, the key thing is to remember that your body, my body, our body is intelligent.
Yes.
It's not a stupid thing.
Oh, no.
And so that's the key. And then you have to see, well, what's wrong? If the body is intelligent, what's wrong? What's missing? And then you realize with all this pollution, all this nervous stress. I mean, you can get nervous stress to give you cancer.
Oh, 100%.
So the body's being stressed and you have to cause it, you have to help it where it needs it. We breathe 20,000 times a day.
Yes.
And our body, the amount of oxygen in our body only in our red blood cells, the amount of oxygen in our red blood cells only lasts 4 minutes.
Wow.
And so the question is, why? And so that's why we have to breathe all the time.
Yes.
And the body then takes it and packs it. And actually, the amount of rocks that everybody has in their bodies, you have in your body, I have in my body, is much more than the amount of oxygen that's in the red blood cells.
Yeah.
So that means when they're measuring your pulse ox is when they put that thing on your finger. Let's say if it's 95 to 100%, you're good to go. We're saying it's very important. It's very important that you're 95 to 100, that your red blood cells are saturated, but it's not enough.
Right.
Not enough. After the oxygen goes into your red blood cells, it has to be packed into these bullets. If it's not, then you're very, very sick. And this really, really happens because some people during COVID would go to the hospital, they'd check their pulse ox and say, you're good to go.
Right.
They'd go home, they'd get so sick when they'd come back, they'd almost be dead. And that's bad for the hospital, actually, because now they got 2 visits instead of 1, and they got a sicker person. And also, for insurance purposes, the hospitals can't send people back and have them come back.
The key reading, though, what you're saying is that the pulse ox was normal, but the ROX was low. So you need that ROX measurement to really have that 360 holistic view of your health, because you know, it makes an impact.
And you can't blame the doctors. It's not their fault, because if your oxygen is low to your red blood cells, they have to put you on some kind of a respirator, because
Yes.
they're thinking that your lungs are not working properly. But we're thinking that no, your lungs are working really properly, thank you. It's just that you're so diseased that your white blood cells are taking the oxygen out of the red blood cells and using them right away. It's not that your lungs need boosting.
Yes.
In other words, you could have a lower pulse ox and still be very healthy.
Yes.
Again, again, you can't be blaming the medical system. It's not their fault because they don't know. If you're going to blame anybody, you should blame us, because we haven't been able to reach the people yet.
Yes. You know, it's amazing because, you know, they talk about, you know, the contamination, you know, there's more contamination when you walk out the door than there is in your house. And there's a lot of contamination with dust particles and all different things that we use, chemicals that we use to clean the house, the detergents we use, you know, the soaps we use, you can go on and on. But when you walk out of the house, it's just the air we breathe outside the house. Just like you had mentioned before, you know, there's so much contamination, people don't know because they can't see it, you know, and it's, you know, we're in a society where we're not really taking care of the environment, you know, the way we should. And so we are actually harming ourselves in a sense, you know, and we're harming our bodies. And if you look at the statistics of all these different conditions that are out there, we're increasing very rapidly. All conditions that we didn't have and allergies we didn't have when we were younger, you see people having them now. And the question is, why? You know, and I think a lot has to do with the way we take care of this planet, the way we, you know, take care of ourselves, you know, what we put in our bodies, you know, we can go on and on and on and on. But I feel that, you know, a product like BioOx could do a really great service, because if you take BioOx and you're putting you're drinking BioOx and you're putting it in your body and it's helping your body facilitate the ingredients, the things that it needs in order for it to work properly, build that immune system and help you, you know, heal in certain ways. You know, it could really, you know, help maybe with your longevity, help with the current status that you're in, you know, help you, you know, heal in ways, you know, because a lot of people go to the doctor because, you know, they say it's cheaper. I know people that will go and they'll have surgery before they try something holistically, only because their insurance will cover it, you know, and then they'll be back 2-3 years later with the same problem and it'll be even worse. So, you know, to invest in yourself, to invest a small amount of money in something that is natural, that you can put into your body and then have complete, and it could heal your body or it can enhance your overall health. It's just, you know, it makes sense and it blows my mind, you know, how people really need to open up and really think about the alternative. You know, if we're going to live in a planet that has so many toxins, you know, you know, the air we breathe, you know, the ground we walk on, a lot of soils are contaminated because the way we took care of them. You know, we really have to consider, you know, trying to take care of ourselves and put things in our body that are going to help heal our body and help our body and help with the longevity of our body, because, you know, nobody wants to suffer. And, you know, there are so many different conditions out there and people are, you know, if the health is declining in our society, you could just look statistically and you can see the statistics, everything has gone up, you know, instead of going down. So, you know, then we have to stop and think, what can we do to help our bodies and to help, you know, the people around us, like our families, so we can actually live the quality of life that we deserve, you know. And I was thinking when you were talking, you know, when you talked about being foggy, I had known so many people that had gotten COVID, and one of the main components that they talked about is that after COVID, they felt a traumatic degree of brain fog, and they never had that before. And some people talked about being off balance, and even my husband, he got the first strand of COVID that was several years back, and he lost his smell and taste and he never got it back, you know. So, you know, these are things that you don't, you know, If you put the right components in your body, I'm not saying it's going to completely heal it, but it might help to actually, help you heal naturally and make yourself better than what you currently are at the status you're at. And I've done many different natural treatments, and it's helped me tremendously. And it does take some time, and that's what people have to realize too, that you can't go in and take a product and think, okay, in a week I should feel better, or a couple of days I feel better. And I can't tell you how much mentality, people want to feel better in a couple of days. They want to see quick results. But, I think, in order to see just a small result, you have I've noticed in my own studies, at least 3 months just to see a small a result. And then you start seeing as it enhances. And I'm not saying that with BioOx. I'm just saying in general with the things that I've tried that are natural and effective. It took a little time because it had to build up in your system. And then as it built up in your system, you started to notice changes. I noticed little changes, and then I noticed, because I'm very aware of my body, and then I noticed as time went on, I got better and better and better and better. And when you take BioOx, is there a certain amount of time, everybody's body is different, so everybody is different. But is there, you start noticing, from previous clients that you've had, did they say they started noticing an improvement right away, or that it took them a couple of weeks or a
You know
couple
what?
months?
We start receiving, I mean, everyone's different,
Hmm.
but say we were even targeting the fitness segment. Say we're at Mr. America, a whole fitness competition with powerlifting, those type of things.
Yeah,
And so some of those power lifters were taking a shot of BioOxygen, then going up there, and someone gave us feedback that he felt a boost of energy and right away he could power lift and he was successful. Someone else that we met at a show, she's in her 60s, she's a marathon runner, and she goes to the gym every day,
yeah,
and she took a shot of our BioOxygen for the first time. She was shocked that she could see a dramatic increase in her ability just that day.
right.
She felt more energetic. So you do feel sometimes a shot of
Yeah,
energy, but I would say to have that long-term effect, like even when we were mentioning earlier, to have that build in your system, that could take time. Like even
right.
within the dog study, it took
Yeah,
time for the
of
dogs
course.
to
Yeah,
have the tumors shrink. I mean, some of those just take time, but we do see that, especially within the fitness segment, where those type of customers are already healthy, they
yeah.
start seeing right away a dramatic impact.
Sometimes, like when I feel an allergy coming up, I definitely chug some. Uh, and as I mentioned before, when I'm in a big crowd, I want to just use it for that reason.
Yeah.
There was a kid at this Mr. America show whose mom and dad were weightlifters. He was like maybe 4 feet high. You know, he was a little bit chubby, and
Hmm.
he was cute. He was just walking around. He was killing time.
Hmm.
He wanted to try some. I said, you have to ask your mom. I
Right.
don't know why I said that because some.
Yeah.
But anyway, he comes back and she said yes. So I let him have some. I said, now that you're doing these laps around these booths, come back around and tell me how it felt. So apparently he came back 3 or 4 times wanting more and more and more. So this was this kid. So I think the more you need it, the more you notice it. Like sometimes when I come home from work, there's a Route 46, famous Route 46, that's full of cars and just
Hmm.
all sorts of exhaust smoke coming back, and that gives me a headache.
Right.
And I drink, make sure I forget, but we keep our gallon jug on the counter. I
Yes.
see the gallon jug and I have a big sip, and it makes that headache go away,
Wow.
like essentially
Yeah.
instantly, right?
Because also I have suffered from migraines,
Yeah.
and since drinking BioOxygen, I've seen a decrease in occurrence of migraines. I can just speak to myself personally, but
Right.
I think it deals with both hydration and then again the rocks biotechnology. So both those things for me personally, I could speak to that my migraines have decreased considerably.
Wow. That's
So we have a
amazing.
guest coming, and she's had to our house, a house guest, a relative, and she's had lichens in her mouth
Hmm.
forever, and they can't get rid of it. So I'm going to have her rinse and have BioOxygen uh, during the 2 weeks she's here, and I'll let you know what she thinks.
I'd love to know. Yeah.
You were mentioning about the planet.
Hmm.
Uh, for a long time, we were burning lead in gasoline.
Yes.
And, you know, now that we're thinking it disappeared. It did not disappear. It
Right.
came back with the rainwater into our soil and into our water. It didn't go away.
Right.
So everything we've done, all the sins of the past are still there. Like we used to practice atomic bombs in the air, and we
Mhm.
still have plutonium around, which is a real poison. So the longer we wait, the dirtier our air and water get.
Yes.
But our style for farming has been like put straight ammonia into the soil and kill everything, because that way you don't have to come back and kill weeds.
Hmm.
And then put a genetically engineered plant in there or
Yeah.
not. But that should be, it's just like what we do with cancer, you know,
Yeah.
kill everything. Oh yeah, the patient will die less than the cancer will die. We're doing the same thing with the soil. So it's like we have the same strategy to attack everything, you know,
Yeah.
and we have to change that. We have to think more naturally,
Yes.
because nature is much more powerful than than all these drugs.
Right.
And also going back to Stacy, what you were saying about contaminants in the air, because now oxygen comprises about 20% of the air, but
Hmm.
before it was even a higher percentage.
Yeah.
You start seeing it decreasing over time. So we're literally, even if we remove all contaminants from the air, we're still actually breathing in less oxygen. So
Yeah.
the rocks in that BioOxygen water supplement helps that way to replenish those rocks. Supplement. And then also what I use, not only the water supplement, I do have the air scrubber in my house. So that helps as well with contaminants, at least in that controlled area.
Yeah.
So,
Your cat agrees with that.
my cat agrees. So my cat is attracted to the BioOx bioreactor because it's a water circulation and she's attracted to that water. And Sam and I were talking about how animals naturally are attracted to things that are pure and natural. And I
Yes.
even give her a little bit of my BioOxygen. She drinks it right away. And I think of that as a preventative measure as well, because cancer rates, I just see it with my pets. I treat them phenomenally, perfect care. And frequently I've experienced cancer with my pets as well. So, you know, you do all you can in what you can control within an environment.
Right. I agree. Well, you see how the planet is changing. You see global warming. We just had a news flash in New Jersey that we had an earthquake at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you know we've had about four in the past month and a half. And so you know, when have you ever heard of the East Coast getting earthquakes? You know,
My hometown was the epicenter of the earthquake.
oh really?
Reddington, New Jersey.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, you know, you think about why these things are happening, you know, it's because of the environment, how we're caring for the environment, how things over time, it's wearing down the environment. So if it's wearing down the environment, imagine what it's doing to us, because we are a part of that environment. We use this environment in order to stay alive. You know, we need, in order, you know, the trees create oxygen, we breathe oxygen to stay alive. You know, everything we do, you know, everything, there's a reason, a purpose for everything natural on this planet to keep us alive and to keep us growing and to keep us, you know, here. And so what if we, you know, like you said, it's things that we did you know, decades ago are still affecting us. So can you imagine, this is probably one of the main factors why our healths are declining, and you see more conditions occurring than ever before. And you know, it's you know, if we can do things to help us, like, you know, put, you know, better oxygen into our system, to use the rocks to you know, to go into our system, to go into our cells, to go into our body, and go into areas where we need help, where our body needs healing, you know, that's a huge factor. Because you know, you know, it's so important, because there are things out there that can help heal the body naturally, and BioOx is one of them. And you want something natural that's going to go into your body and help with the healing process, you know, because everybody, I guarantee you, has something. Because you, on this planet, you know, you talk to everybody, they complain about something, whether it's pain, whether it's fatigue, you know, whether it's a, you know, a nervous condition caused by maybe, you know, something not going right, you know, you know, with their mental health. You know, you never know, you know, with the proper care and the proper elements in your body, how your body can improve over time.
I would say BioOxygen and rocks or water supplement the best way to describe it from my own personal perspective is that it really helps with your overall vitality and well-being and whatever
Yes.
it means to you and whatever you need. You can personalize it. We have, say, different concentrations. You can drink varying amounts, but really personalize it for your own vitality and well-being.
And I think another thing too is when you were discussing this with me, I think about as we get older, our energy levels decline because we become deficient in so many different vitamins and sources in our body. And, fatigue is one of them. People talk about fatigue all the time. As they get older, they don't have the energy to do many of the things that they did before. But if you could have something that can give you a boost, a natural boost, and it's not going to come into your body like coffee or one of those over the counter, drinks that claim to give you all this energy but at the same time can give you a heart attack so you could have something natural and you can get that energy boost and you could actually accomplish the things you want to accomplish because as you get older or if you have a condition fatigue is something that could be it could be it can even cause depression because when you are like if you're so tired that you're constantly sleeping or you can't get off the couch and you can't do the things that you once did when you were younger that's a huge impact on someone's mental well-being and physical well-being.
Absolutely, it's a conundrum. Exactly what
Yes.
you need to do, you can't do. You need to be active, but if you don't have the energy, then you start falling into that cycle of depression, and then it becomes that endless cycle. So exactly that, we really view our BioOxygen water supplement as that tool that someone can use and use as a lever to improve their vitality and minimize fatigue.
Now, if you had to, look at everything we discussed today, what are three important things, or, you can even say more than three if you like, but what are some things that you'd like to emphasize to make the listeners understand about our discussion today?
Well, I think, again, BioOxygen is a tool that you can use and it's personalized for you. And every person is different. Every person's needs are different. And please explore our website. We have various research studies that we've run with medical schools with hepatitis C, pain management, and we're continuing to explore different case studies. So please continue to learn about our product and service and learn about rocks. And hopefully we're educating people as well as the science and behind rocks in our products. So we're really excited to bring awareness to our whole family of products and specifically BioOxygen, because I think that's something that everyone can really use in their daily lives. And it truly makes an impact, whether it's maintenance of your health, preventative measures, or actively trying to improve your health when you have a health ailment such as pain management. So it really is personalized for the person. And we really look forward to more people learning about our product and service and learning about rocks. So we really appreciate the opportunity today.
Oh, you're very
Thank you.
welcome.
If
Yeah.
anybody has more questions, they could ask us on the website.
And can you tell me your website again, your website address where they can find you?
www.biox.us.
Yeah, BioOx. BioOx.us.
And if people want to purchase your product, where can they find your product right now?
Online, directly online. We're direct to consumer, so please find us online, and we look forward to getting to know you and building a relationship, because we truly do build relationships with our customers. We're very curious to see where you are with your health right now, what needs to be improved, and how BioOxygen can help you get there. So please stay in contact with us. We really, truly appreciate our loyal customers and our new customers that just learn about us as well.
Well, this has been amazing. I thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait till you guys come back again. I think it's so important because, I think that if someone could have a drink like BioOx and they can actually, it can help heal the body, and it can help, enhance your energy. It could help you with so many different things like brain fog. And like I mentioned, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I have brain fog ever since I got COVID. These are amazing things. And you've talked about many other conditions in this conversation too. Why not give it a try? If you haven't used it already, why not give it a try? Because I think the best thing is when we do things naturally, because there are so many side effects. And I've had many people, have horror stories about using medication that have an adverse side effects and never being the same again. Why not try something natural? I'm a true believer in integrative medication, but, why don't we, try something natural first, and let's see, the results, and then take it from there. But I really admire your product. I love your product. And I thank you so much for taking the time to explain it. And I look forward to our next conversation, because this is something we need. And like we said before, look at the environment. We've always had many contaminants in the air and in the household, and we're taking all that in every single day. And just, people have to stop and think, what is this doing to my body? And maybe the way I'm feeling is one of the reasons why I feel is because of the contaminants, the things I use, the things I breathe in. These are having an impact over the course of the years, as we get older. So why not, stop and think and try to do something about it. So I thank you so much for doing the research, making the product, and coming out with this amazing product that I'm going to be trying very soon, because I'm very anxious to see, how it could help me, because I definitely have a few things I'd like to improve in my own health.
As we all, but
As we all.
thank you for your support.
Thank you.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate getting to know you and your audience. So thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're very welcome. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
You
too.
as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.